Hey everyone, just some quick thoughts that I wanted to put over tonight, and that was about the righteous moving by faith rather than by sight. There's an old movie I used to watch, starring Paul Newman, called Cool Hand Luke, and they asked him at one time, I don't know, about planning an escape or something, I think it was, but Paul Newman's response in the character of Luke was, well, I never planned nothing in my life. And on a spiritual level, that's true for myself. I didn't fit into the world very well. I mean, as far as being an academic and planning my career and planning my life, because the steps of the righteous are ordained of God. Now, I'm not saying that you can't plan things out, but ultimately what happens is God will direct his people in the way that he wants to direct them. And I've had to learn to laugh a little bit about at certain people's perspective about me and my walk with the Lord, being told that I've chosen a different path and that I'm no longer following the Lord. Well, of course, that's their perception of following the Lord. But it made me think of that line, I never planned anything in my life. As a matter of fact, when I got out of the Coast Guard, I was going to go in the Merchant Marine as an example. And although I did end up on Army watercraft tugboats and did stick in the Marine field, I didn't end up shipping out for a life at sea. I had a life in a marine machinery shop that repaired equipment. So the Lord blessed me in something that I loved doing in the world, within the world, and it didn't call for me having to go from port to port and not having stability. Now, I never would have imagined that I would meet my wife as a result of working in the specific area that I was working in. But the Lord had it planned out in my life. It was providential that I would meet her and share my life with her and move in incredible ways, I have to say, when his spirit moved us together and to share our lives together. I mean, that is the most spiritual time in my life, was when the Lord was speaking to me about my wife, and things fell together that I could have never planned. I mean, it was so supernatural that it was actually scary, because every event I could see was engineered in my life as far as my wife, and then the Lord had engineered things even prior to me meeting her, which would have never happened if I had gone to sea, as an example. And it's really, if you get into your mind and you start thinking, well, about permissive and absolute wills of God, it seemed absolutely that these things were supposed to transpire for me. And it's just mind-boggling to say, well, what if I had taken this path, or if I had taken that path? And of course I didn't, but in my free will, I would have had the ability to do that, I suppose. But then things wouldn't have worked out exactly like they did it providentially. And I know that there's I know that wasn't by accident. So it's the same thing in walking by faith and not by sight. You walk with your heart towards the Lord. It doesn't really matter the dogmas that other people hold about your personal faith walk, because it is just that, your personal faith walk in the Lord. And actually, I think it's wrong, because I think when men try to apply the letter of the law, their perception of following the Lord Jesus Christ, they're really overstepping their authority, because that belongs to the Lord if you're truly one of his. And I do believe what the verse says about the step of the righteous being ordained to God. So really, it takes some real brass to say that you've chosen a different path away from the Lord. And of course, how It's how those people perceived it. And I also can tell you that they won't hesitate in stopping their fellowship with you if they don't think you're on the narrow way, the right path. Well, to me, I'm sorry, but that's the height of arrogance. And I don't ever expect these people to apologize because they really believe that they're moving in righteousness. But I'm telling you, as a brother who knows the Lord Jesus Christ for over 40 years, I never planned anything in my life. I moved by faith, and the Lord continues to work despite what other people think within my life. God bless, and I hope this encourages some people that have been cut off as I had happened to me. Bye.